Today, we're diving into something pretty wild, a vision for the future of warfare that sounds like it's pulled straight from science fiction. It's about how a soldier can become a ghost on a battlefield where technology can see and predict literally everything.
And really, that's the billion-dollar question, isn't it? On a battlefield run by artificial intelligence, how do you possibly stay alive when the enemy's computer knows where you're going to be before you do? When every single move you make is just another piece of data for an algorithm that's designed to kill you?
Okay, so before we can really appreciate the solution, we have to get our heads around just how terrifying the threat itself has become.
What we're talking about are systems with names like predictive AI and kinetic tracking, PACT for short. Now, these aren't just fancy drones. These are incredibly sophisticated algorithms. They analyze everything, the terrain, your training doctrine, your past behavior, all to calculate what you're going to do next. This means artillery can be aimed at a spot you haven't even gotten to yet. On this kind of battlefield, following the training manual, well, that's a death sentence.
So how in the world do you fight an enemy that can predict your every move? Simple. You stop moving in predictable ways. You embrace a totally new kind of warfare, something that really does sound like it's from another world.
The proposed solution has a name, P.R.O.B.A.B.L.E. And, get ready for it, it stands for Probabilistic Real-Time Operational Bases via Asset-Linked Entanglement. Yeah, it's a real mouthful, but trust me, every single word in there is important. And this isn't just a wild theory, it's a concept being seriously studied to completely change how soldiers operate.
The whole idea boils down to two words: controlled chaos. See, the only way to beat a prediction algorithm is to become genuinely unpredictable. And the P.R.O.B.A.B.L.E. framework does this by tapping into the laws of quantum physics to make a soldier's movements truly mathematically random. An algorithm can't predict a coin flip, and the idea here is that it won't be able to predict this either.
So, how does this crazy idea actually work in the real world? Well, it all comes down to a property of the universe that was so weird, even Einstein called it spooky action at a distance.
We're talking about quantum entanglement. The easiest way to picture it is like this. Imagine you've got two coins that are magically linked together. You could give one to your friend, and they could fly to the other side of the planet. The exact moment you flip your coin and it lands on heads, you know instantly that theirs has just landed on tails. There's no signal, no message sent between them. The connection is instantaneous. It's spooky. So here's how that plays out on the battlefield. Every soldier carries a little device called a quantum instruction module, or a QIM. That QIM is quantumly entangled with a machine back at the command base, the Command Link System, or CLS. Now, at regular intervals, the soldier's QIM measures a quantum particle. That particle gives a totally random result, either a 0 or a 1. The soldier follows a simple rule. If it's a 0, move left. If it's a 1, move right. And here's the magic trick. Because of entanglement, command knows which way that soldier moved the instant it happened.
And the biggest deal here? 0. That is the number of radio signals a soldier has to send for command to know their last move. And no radio chatter means no electronic footprint. To the enemy's sensors, that soldier is a complete ghost. They've just vanished.
A technology like this doesn't just change a soldier's equipment. It fundamentally rewrites military strategy. We're talking about throwing out centuries of doctrine and starting over with something totally new.
This is a massive paradigm shift. Traditional warfare is all about the order of battle, nice, clean, cohesive formations. P.R.O.B.A.B.L.E. creates what's called a probability cloud. So instead of seeing a clear line of troops, the enemy just sees what looks like random noise. Instead of picking up a radio signal, they get nothing. You're swapping out predictability for pure quantum-driven chaos.
This creates a new tactic called stealth via noise. I mean, think about it. An entire platoon, with every single soldier making random left and right turns, doesn't look like a disciplined army unit anymore. To thermal sensors, to acoustic sensors, they just blend into the background static of the battlefield. They're hiding in plain sight, literally cloaked in true randomness.
But this brings up a huge, obvious question, right? If your soldiers are just wandering around randomly, how do you actually get them to capture an objective? How do you command chaos?
Well, this is the controlled part of controlled chaos. The command base can't force the quantum result to be a 0 or a 1, but it can influence it. By shooting a very precise, narrow-beam laser at the soldier's device, they can bias the probability. So instead of a 50-50 shot of going left or right, it might become, say, a 70-30 chance of going right. The soldier's path is still random from moment to moment, but over time, that entire probability cloud of soldiers begins to drift toward the objective.
But like any piece of tech, this system is not invincible.
Its greatest strengths are actually tied to some very serious vulnerabilities, and not just in the technology, but in the soldier who has to use it.
There are really three big risks here. First, there's decoherence. If the soldier's little device gets damaged, that quantum link can break, and they're suddenly cut off, just drifting. Second, the system has this amazing built-in tripwire. If the enemy even tries to intercept or measure the quantum state, the very act of observing it destroys the entanglement, and command is instantly alerted. But the biggest vulnerability of all? It's not technical, it's psychological.
I mean, really think about what this means for the person on the ground. Your training, your gut, your instincts are all screaming at you to take cover behind a wall. But the device in your hand flashes right, ordering you to step out into the open. To follow that order requires a kind of absolute trust that goes against every survival instinct you have. That is a profound psychological challenge.
And that really brings us to the ultimate point of this whole doctrine. Victory on the future battlefield might not go to the side with the biggest guns or the fastest jets. It might just come down to this: who is better at managing randomness? Who can create and control the most complex entropy, becoming a true ghost in the enemy's machine?
The source material for this ends with a new, kind of chilling motto, a twist on the old West Point creed: duty, honor, probability. It really makes you wonder, what does it mean to be a soldier when survival and victory depend not just on your courage or your skill, but on a quantum roll of the dice? What does the future of war even look like when the battlefield itself is governed by pure chance?